On my last How Not to Pack a Cassette Deck video, I got a comment from a viewer whose deck was scheduled to come in soon, and he had already packed it up. And he commented, "Hey, why don't you make a video about how to pack a deck?" Which I thought was a great idea. And his was already packed, it was ready to go. So I'm going to debox it here on live video, or camera anyway, and then we can all critique his work. I'm sure it's actually fine, otherwise he wouldn't have offered to have the whole world see his packing job. So I'm very convinced that it's done well. Okay, so right out of the chute, looks like he's got it completely surrounded with maybe 1 inch. No, that's more than 1 inch. Probably 1.25 inches. I think this is polyethylene foam, which is good for this type of packing. So he's got a good 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches surrounding it on the face, I'm sure. Looks like he's got the whole thing in bubble wrap. Okay, I like all that. I'll show you both sides. Have another good inch or so, 3/4, but good inch of firm insulation. This, not insulation, packing foam. Okay, again, both sides, well done. That's the back there. Okay, on the bottom, it looks like he's got a piece in between the feet, and then another piece on the feet. So that's a good 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches on that one, and another piece of 1/2 inch foam there. Well done, Steve. The other thing I see here is that he has tabbed all his taping to make it more convenient to remove. Thank you for that. It's also nice because it lets me recycle this packing foam, bubble wrap. 99% of everything I pack is recycled material. I save all of it. I don't think it's a good thing to just throw stuff away, so I recycle it. If you get something from me, the chances are it's packed in recycled foam. I know he mentioned that the door doesn't stay closed, and so he's taped that up. Again, tab the tape, and that's one of the first things that will have to be repaired. Okay, so there it is. The deck is extremely clean. I think he just purchased this one recently. All the way around, very clean deck. All right, so let's have a look at the bulk of his packing material. Here's what he did. I think I can give him an A for that. At least it came in undamaged. And we'll put that right back in the box and possibly reuse it. Now, when I repack this, I'll do a couple additional things. I'll double box it, and I'll also put an additional at least foam, but a lot of times I just put a piece of plywood on the face after the foam, so that it would take, a forklift to get through that. I don't like to have things go back to the owners with bent knobs and cracks and things like that. So overall, he did an excellent job, and the deck came in unscathed. It's a really nice unit that will polish up beautifully. Yeah, nothing got bent, nothing got damaged. I think this will be a very successful rebuild. I'm just curious quickly to plug it in and see if it turns on. If I remember, he did say that it was operational, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's turn him on. All right, that's good. Displays works. Nice and bright. Tape sensors work correctly, or at least work. Let's see if I can engage it and see if the capstan's moving and the reels. Might need a couple of fingers to do this here. Okay, so it does engage. Take that off, maybe you can see it a little bit better. Okay, can you see the capstan moving there? Okay, I've got good motion there. Okay, I think this one is probably pretty close to operational, other than that door. And before I just tear into this, I want to evaluate it, maybe throw tape in. These, he sent me a thread link on tape heads about this unit being a machine that the high end tends to erase itself after a few playbacks. And I read through the thread, and I'll have to read through it again, but if I remember correctly, I think it was only on a Type 1 tape, or that was, maybe it wasn't on a Type 1 tape, but I think it was on a Type 1 tape that it happened. And the conclusion was that it was because the erase head pitted over time, and that abraded the oxide layer and lost the high end. And so the repair is to relap or replace with, something different. But in this case, I'll relap this erase head, and that seems to be the accepted repair for this. So I need to read that thread, or maybe somebody can post if I've got it wrong. But that's what we're going to do. So there is the reason for the door not staying closed. The post that engages the latch is broken. And I'm trying to get close here and show you, but I don't know if I can show you the latch part, but it's a conventional latching mechanism. So that's broken right there. I will repair that first. And I'll do that on camera so that repair can be shown. I think what I'll probably do is add a brass post on there. I'll determine what kind of plastic. If it's bondable plastic, acrylic or something like that, then I'd probably make an acrylic post, bond it, and then reinforce it with a like a number 1 screw, something like that, maybe number 2. If it's not, then I think I would make the post out of brass and do the same thing, reinforce it with a screw. But if it is a bondable plastic, I think that would be desirable, because then you're not relying only on the screw. So this looks really clean inside and out. Pretty conventional Denon type circuitry, Sony Dolby chips. Let's plug him back in here, and I think I'll remove this cassette stabilizer just to make it easier to get in here and clean. There's a couple little tabs, and they call this a ceramic stabilizer. I don't know about that. Maybe it's a ceramic impregnated thermoplastic, but that's not solid ceramic. So I don't know. I'll have to look into that more closely. I like the design. I think it's a solid design. Gosh, it would be nice to be able to incorporate something like this in some of the other decks, like the 790, if it's similar enough. I may just measure it up and see if I can duplicate it out of 3D printing material. Okay, so it's not incredibly dirty. See a little bit of debris on the rollers, of course, but not bad. It's not dusty. It's not. There's nothing like smoke damage or anything like that in here, obviously. Just want to make sure there's usually buildup on those guides. Want to make sure that that's out. Yeah, there's nothing coming off. It looks just like it did before. Only real tape buildup is on that capstan. Turn it by hand a little bit. So I love the tape stabilizers. I think it's technically a good idea, but it does make accessing everything to perform normal cleaning much more difficult. But at least this one's not very difficult to remove. Yeah, these are, I can't see one bit of debris coming off of there at all. That seems like a lot of end play. I'll have to try to find the spec on that and measure it. But this looks to be in very good condition and not a ton of wear. The pinch rollers are still supple. I'm just going to do a very quick cleaning on those. I'm only doing this so I can throw one of my own tapes in, and I want to do a preliminary recording, assuming that this deck records and plays back. I want to do a preliminary test and see, if possible, if that treble problem exists now, before I start on it, and then also be able to do an after lapping and make an evaluation that way and see if it really does take care of the problem. So before I throw any of my tapes in it, of course, I just want it to be clean. And yes, I'm using alcohol in the pinch rollers. It's fine. Can't really get my finger into that one, so I'll just use a little pick on the end to rotate it. Engaging it and running it against the capstan, I don't think is a good way to clean these. You really can't. I mean, it's There's nothing wrong with it, but I just don't think you can get very much pressure on. I don't think you can get much cleaning done that way. And then, of course, you always roll the the Q-tip through the capstan, and I just don't like that method. This is easy and effective to do it this way. So that's all that came off of those pinch rollers. So this deck is clean. Give it a little degousing. Myself plugged in here. Just do everything here and go back and finish up on the heads. All right, let's give it a quick blow off. And I'll just grab any old tape from the bench and see if the pumps will suck. Now, I'll obviously have to hold the door closed. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that and not be in the way of the camera. Alright, let's see. Let's try this. Okay, I have play, and I've got signal on the meters. That's a good sign. Got forward and reverse. So what I'd like to do here, if possible, is to make some recordings and playback and see if I'm indeed losing the highs the way this is supposed to happen, and then following the overhaul do the same test and see if we took care of the problem. And this is a good candidate because at this point it seems to be working. I'm not hooked up to the amp right now, but we'll see how it goes. So thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for the follow-up.